Hey, how you doing? This is Prince Patrick. Thank you for tuning in to my quick video here. A lot of the times when I go out and meet with clients who are looking to sell their houses for quick cash, there always is that that kind of fine line between hey, well, what are you willing to offer, or what are you willing to buy it for, and things like that. And as a basically a sales consultant, of course, I have to say, hey, I'm willing to come up with this offer, and so there's a lot of discrepancy about that, and I'm just making this video here today just to really show you guys, as sellers who are potentially looking to sell your home, how you can easily come up with the price of what the home is worth. Real estate is kind of a gray area. I mean, one day it's kind of up, one day it's down, and there's not really any black or white. On prices being offered for your home. Basically, I'm going to show you guys how I pull just kind of like loose comps. Now, disclaimer: I'm not actually a realtor. I don't actually have a real estate license. I've been doing this for a while now, and the way that I pull comps, it has been working for clients as well as me, and everyone seems to go along with it fine, and get a fair trade, and get a fair market value for what their house is worth. In this video, I'm just going to simply show you how I comp properties and how I come up with prices to offer sellers. Now I'm on this website called Zillow.com. Zillow is a pretty credible website. In terms of kind of real estate information and generally what houses are worth, and what's kind of like the news for your specific city or town. Now, I'm located here in Dallas, Texas, so the market's pretty hot. Dallas has a population about 8 million plus people in it. Very big city, very hot real estate market. So in Dallas things move pretty fast, and things tend to get out of hand. I use Zillow to comp out properties. I don't really use any other website except for Zillow. There are other websites out there. I'm just gonna go ahead and show you guys one of the areas I have worked in the past, and one of the things I have going on as a deal. I'm showing you guys a place called Garland, and I'm going to show you realistically the types of homes that I buy. So immediately when you go here, you'll see all these yellow dots. That's because I have a setting. So now, as a seller, what you could do in your area is when you go into that search bar, whether it's the zip code or your specific address or things like that, there's actually a tab. Actually, just let me go back and show you guys how to do it. So let's just say you want to buy a house or something like that. So you're going to see listing type. So what I do to find out how much a property is worth is I don't check for sale. Because just because someone puts their house up for sale really doesn't mean anything. I don't put up potential listings because these are basically like foreclosures, or people kind of looking out there to get their feelers for what the market's going for. I don't put rent because I'm not looking to rent. I'm actually looking to buy a house. So I'll go to this right here, recently sold, bam, right? Any price, I mean, that's not really that relevant. So for beds, I mean, obviously as a seller, you would put how many bedrooms your house has or things like that. So that way when you compare other homes like yours that have sold, then you'll have something credible to compare it to. So for example, if I was selling a 1-bedroom house and I was looking to get a price off of a 4-bedroom house, it just wouldn't compare because the criteria wouldn't be the same. So when you go to home type, I would just leave houses. I'm not really in the business of doing apartments yet. I'm not in the business of buying and selling condos. I don't flip condos. I don't flip townhomes, manufactured or lots. So you just leave it as houses. Now, here's another important ticker. So when you go to more, square feet, I mean, if you match up, like, hey, you have a 1 or 2-bedroom house and you're just looking to see how much square feet it is, I mean, that's gonna just kind of come into play with the size. So what I do is I go sold in the last 90 days. The cool thing is that you always want things that have sold in the past 90 days, because that's kind of like more recent listings that have sold, and things like that. But sometimes I'll just leave it as a really, really loose filter and just click any, so I can get a more general idea. So I'm going to go ahead and show you, as a seller, what you should be looking for. Okay, so I'm just going to show you just a quick example here. So, um, this property, 516 Ford Street, and I actually showed this property to one of my clients on a call that I was going to, that I was trying to buy a house from. So I showed him this. So my client's bed or house was actually really similar to this. It was a 2-bed, 1-bath house. I mean, the square feet was like plus 100, minus 100, or something like that. I don't really remember, but it was pretty similar. So, what I usually tell clients as a client, as a seller, obviously, your objective is to get the house sold in as much of top dollar as you can, and my objective as a sales consultant is to get the house, as low as I can for, for more profits, more money for me, things like that. But so the funny thing is this house right here. It says in 2013 it sold for 41 grand. Now remember, I like to look up comps in the past 90 days, and obviously this one is about 2 years ago. But that's okay, because sometimes you just can't find any comps in the past 90 days for your specific criteria, which is fine. But generally, what I found in my experience is that the markets in Dallas don't really shift too much up and down. So this is about right, right? So, anyways, my client's house. You see here Zestimate. It says it's worth about 53. Now, on the Zestimate, I've had clients that say, hey, you know what? Online, Zillow or whatever website that says my house is worth X. Now, keep in mind that as a client, I understand you're going to pick the website that says the highest value for your home. That's not entirely correct. I don't care what any website says about how much your house is worth. It's all about what people are paying for homes that are in similar condition to yours. So, I told my client, I even showed this. I gave him a printout of this very same sheet, 516 Ford, and I said, hey, look, man, it says here that your house is worth about 50 grand or so, and I compared his house to this one. But then I told him, I said, hey, look, so for a two bed, 1-bath, which is pretty similar to your home, it said here in 2013 it only sold for 41,000. So, what that's going to do for you as a client is, okay, it's going to give you some more accurate numbers on what your property is worth, right? Because if let's just say, for example, if you were to sell this 516 Ford and you were to expect about 80 grand, but in reality, homes around it, and I mean, this one sold for 80, but this one looks a little bit more decked out with laminated wood floors and a fresh, oh wow, yeah, a lot of upgrades, new kitchen looks like, some fresh paint. So, I mean, yeah, things like that. But, for example, if your house was like a complete dump and needed work and wasn't in the most tip-top shape, what you got to understand that I, as a sales consultant, actually have to put money into that house to bring it up to par. So, for example, I don't necessarily know if I'd rehab a house this nice, but, I'd like to rehab it up to a decent selling condition to where I can make a decent profit off of it, right? And what most sellers don't understand is the only way to make a deal with someone who's looking to pay cash for your home is if these cash buyers can make a profit off of your home, off of the deal as well. So look at this one. This is a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet in 2013, sold for about 70 grand. Right, and I mean, it's still not even in the decent condition, right? I mean, this house right here is a 2-bedroom, 1-bed home. It's all decked out, has all these upgrades, and it sold for 80. Now that makes sense because of all these upgrades, right? But even then, I mean, let's say that you were to push 608 Rayburn Street and you were to ask like 200,000. As a sales consultant, I'd go to Zillow and I'd see, okay, homes around, there's no house around this area that has sold for 200,000, right? So let's look at this one right here that sold for 59,000. So pretty similar to that Wolf Street one, 1200 West Avenue in 2012. It sold for where'd it go? It sold for, it says here on the listing, it looks like this one sold for about 60 grand, right? So check this out. Zillow claims that the house is worth 127, but in reality, the buyer on this house has only paid 60 grand, so about a 50% discount off the asking price, right? So, I mean, what I'm trying to get across to you as a seller, as a motivated seller, you need to really do your research before, you kind of you blow your house out of proportion to an investor and say, hey, I think my house is worth this much, I want to say this much, when in reality, it may not be worth anywhere near what you thought it was. So here's another example, 1200 Parkway Drive, Garland, Texas. It's a 4-bed, it sold for 56,000, right? So, I mean, this one is a pretty decent house. I mean, single family, it does need some work. But even then, Zillow claims that the house is worth 76, yet it only sold for 56,000. So, I mean, basically, what I just wanted to show you in this video was that if you're going to sell your property, make sure you do your accurate research. Make sure you put out the criteria. Obviously your city, state, and zip code, and make sure you click recently sold. To get a general idea, and obviously put your criteria in about how many beds or baths your home is, or things like that, so you can get a more roundabout number of how much your house is really worth. That's one thing that I always take my time explaining to sellers. As the sales consultant or the investor or whatever you want to call me, I'll never leave you questioning how I came up with a certain number, right? Because I always explain it to you. I always show you, fact what it is in that neighborhood or what it's going for. So yeah, just thanks for coming through to check out this video. It was a pretty short preemptive thing. I've been doing this a while now, and I found that showing you as a seller facts and what your house is willing to sell is selling for in that area has actually gotten me more deals in the past. So I'm in the business to make deals with my clients, not piss them off and make them lowball offers without bringing facts and truth into why I'm offering, etc. This amount of numbers. So anyways, if you wanna talk more, let me know. I can be found at www.princeejpatridge.com. So anyways, I hope this helps you as a motivated seller to find out how much your house is really worth, and hopefully you'll make some good money off of your little investment in your home, and find a good situation for you and your family that works for you. All right, signing off. Thanks.